Hello and welcome to the LRM podcast in association with Britpart. I'm Martin Dominic.
And I'm Steve Miller.
And you join us for an hour of talk about Land Rovers and everything to do with owning them. So, once again, we're going to kick off with a listener's question, which I believe actually came in through our YouTube channel this time.
It certainly did, yes. I think his name's John.
Okay.
And he's asked a question related to a couple of things, actually. And he loves the magazine, buys the magazine, and has recently subscribed to the podcast. So thank you very much, John, for listening to our podcast.
And hopefully, by the sounds of it, he likes the YouTube channel as well, so that's always a bonus.
Definitely. Well, he's kicked off with a question relating to, there's a video on our YouTube page when we erected the temporary garage.
Yes.
From Machine Mart. And it was relating to the anchor points of how you put it to the ground. So, let's read the actual question.
So he addresses you in the, because you're presenting the video. Hi, Steve. I've been buying the mag on and off for years. Recently discovered the podcast and YouTube channel. Good on you. Thank you. Anyway, I've been thinking about these temporary garages for a while, so it was great to see how they go up. Are the anchor points just straight pegs, or are they screw anchors? Just wondering how well they will stand up to strong winds. Going off on a tangent, do you know if any workable solutions for towing a Penman with a Freelander 2? We'll address that separately, but we'll first of all answer your question about the Machine Mart temporary garages. So, over to you.
Right, so the anchor points are around 300 mil long.
Yeah.
And they've got like almost like a plough thing a bit on the end, like a circular disc.
Corkscrew,
like a corkscrew, but not, it's a straight bar, but then there's corkscrew at the end. And the getting it into the ground initially is quite hard going, but once it digs in, you can just put like
it like burrows itself down.
Yeah, it does. And then you just put like a long screwdriver or something in the top to get leverage, and you screw them down. And to be honest with you, there's no amount of shifting them really. The garage, when we put it up, it was early part of this year, so 2024, and not long after it got really quite windy.
Yeah, we had a lot of wind.
And I was quite concerned, to the point where I daren't actually look out the window.
There's a massive green kite. It's just off into it.
Because one of the things that sends me more cranky than a broken down Land Rover is the wind.
Well, it took a bit of because when we put it up, it was a hot day. I remember. It was a bit. You have to retension it after a while, don't you?
You do. There's almost like small ratchet straps so when the fabric sort of settles and stretches and finds its way, you just give it a couple more notches. It says that in the instructions.
Like a canvas tilt on a Land Rover.
Yeah, just nip it up a little bit and keep it nice and taut, and that stops that kind of blowing. That it's quite noisy in the wind.
They're
if you don't do it.
Big old thing, aren't they? If you haven't seen these before, these temporary garages, they're made by Clark, aren't they?
Yes.
Sold by Machine Mart. They're essentially what they say on the tin. They're a metal framework which comes in a kit form. You bolt and like they're quick release, like sprung
sort of clips.
Detents, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you assemble the metal frame, and then you put a big top, sort of like tarpaulin type material over the top.
Yeah, like a PVC
outer shell. And then the main piece goes on first, and then the end bits, or the other way around. Seems like forever ago we did it. And then you secure it all down, tension it all up, and you've got a really, really durable, really weatherproof garage that you can do up and down as and when you need it.
And the great thing is they do, like, mine's down at the moment because I needed to get things moved around, but it needs to go back up very soon. So, funny enough, another job for us there, Martin.
Us? You've seen how you watched me put it up the first time. You can do it yourself now.
We put it up.
I seem to remember there was a lot of moaning about your back and not a lot of work, if I'm honest, Steve, but yeah.
But what do you know what's great about them? So you can get them in various sizes. I mean, they do a small enough for like a motorcycle, and large enough for like a motorhome or a horse lorry or something like that. Goodness knows what putting one of them would be, the biggest one.
It would be a bit of a job, wouldn't it?
Not ones for making a video for us, but
it's amazing how small they pack down when they're not in use, isn't it?
Oh, it's perfect. You wouldn't know we'd got it. Just stored the brackets and everything up the side of up the back of the shed. And what's really nice about them is when the sun shines, they warm up inside.
Yes.
And great for spraying.
Absolutely. The other great thing about them is, although the outside is dark green, the inside is white. So there's loads and loads of natural light when you've got the front open. They're a great thing.
They are really, really good. It's just that extra space. I needed to take mine down because if I'd left it up, I mean, they are only temporary. They're not meant for permanent use. Although I think, to be honest with you, for the price of them, you'd probably keep them up.
A friend of mine had one up for a long while. He kept one of his cars in it, and it was on concrete, admittedly. He drilled the concrete and put the corks.
Yeah, because you can get different brackets.
But that was up a long while, like over 6 months, I'd say, and it didn't have any sort of visible wear or damage, and he was in the middle of nowhere, so they're very durable.
So I think John's got a second question on the YouTube.
Yeah, so just to summarise, they are like a corkscrew type anchor. You had them on your gravel drive, didn't you? Which is dirt underneath.
And then dirt underneath.
Loads of strong wind. It didn't move, did it?
No.
So, yeah, I don't think you're going to have an issue. His second question, which we know all about going off on a tangent because we're guilty of doing that. Do you know if there are any workable solutions for towing a Penman trailer with a Freelander 2? From the pictures I've seen, the hitch ring seems to sit about 800 to 850 mil above ground level. Is it possible to fit a NATO hitch safely to the Freelander 2 without it getting in the way of opening the tailgate? Quite a niche question, but...
Very niche question, which needed an expert answer, so I've done a bit of research. And I have spoken to somebody who actually tows a Penman trailer with a Freelander 2.
Oh, right, okay.
They would rather we didn't mention their name, purely because it's a very, very grey area.
Okay.
So, anyone who doesn't know what a Penman trailer is, it's a little bit like a Sankey trailer, both used in the army. So the current British Army use a Penman trailer.
Yeah.
Lots of them are being released at the moment or have been released, and they are a military towing trailer. And in order to tow it with a Defender like I am, you need a military or NATO tow hitch, which is a jaw rather than a traditional 50 mil bull.
Yeah.
Some people out there modify the trailers to get rid of the NATO pintle, which is the big ring on the front, and they start messing around and putting civilian towing sockets on,
right,
or 50 mil balls. That is not type approved.
Right.
So the minute you go down that route, it's no longer type approved, and it's a grey area because if anything actually goes wrong, you're not strictly covered.
Yeah, you'd have all sorts of
legalities. You could, if an accident occurred because of your bad welding or bad fabrication, etc.
Quickly be in hot water, can you?
So my contact tows his Freelander 2, but he's got a 50 mil bolt-in receiver. Do you know, like the square tube?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is technically a recovery type point. They've drilled some holes onto a homemade drop plate for the NATO
to adapt
hitch to go on to the trailer.
Right.
It's not type approved. His advice was, and the other thing actually, it tows too low. So,
because they're a bit nose down anyway.
They are nose down. I mean, even on a Defender, they tow nose down. Some people adapt them to sit more level.
You might have seen them actually on actual current military Land Rovers going down motorways or dual carriageways with Penmans on the back, and they're always a little bit dipped at the front, aren't they?
Yes. I mean, even the Army have like a plate on there that they have a restriction. You see them go up the A1 quite slowly.
Yeah.
They restrict the speed in which they travel at with those trailers to like I think it's 45 kilometres an hour or something, or 45 miles an hour. Really, really quite slow. I think it's 45 miles an hour. For which I basically just tow at 60 miles an hour on the A1, and they're beautiful trailers. But my contact's response was, don't do it. Either buy a Defender to tow your trailer, or buy a different trailer.
Okay. It's a very difficult, because it's that do as I say, not as I do, isn't it? Like, if you choose to do it, you choose to take that risk. You've got to deal with potential consequences. But as far as we're concerned, don't just buy either the right vehicle for the job or look at a different trailer, I guess.
A civilian trailer with a traditional. I mean, John's not mentioned whether he wants to make a camping trailer, but Ifor Williams trailers, Brian James trailers make some fantastic trailers that tow exceptionally well. I've towed quite a lot of different trailers in my time, and I would go for one of them. If he's making a camping trailer, again, you might want to go down the route of making your own entire chassis for a trailer yourself.
Yeah.
If you go down that route, go to the gov.uk website, and this is obviously in the UK, and read the IVA rules on building trailers. That's the individual vehicle approval.
Yes.
And there's a list of all the things that you need to adhere to pass an IVA if it's a self-built trailer.
Yeah.
So might be easier than converting a Penman, to be honest.
Possibly. I mean, I've sort of become more up to speed with IVA ruling recently because Alistair Cusick, photographer to the stars, and I went up to where was it? Up in the north.
You were in the northeast.
Up in the right up in the north, doing a feature on a very, very exciting vehicle, which will be on the cover of the next month's issue of Land Rover Monthly. So
yes, not giving anything away.
No,
it does look very, very cool.
So cool. I could have spent hours and hours looking over it. It's like it really right up my street, and the guy responsible for building it is just a genius as far as I'm concerned. So please make sure you buy the October issue, because it is like your mind will probably... I wish I could get across in photos how cool this thing is. But anyway, he had to have that IVA tested for reasons that will become obvious when you see the feature, and the level of detail and the how specific everything has to be it became apparent to me then. So if you do go down the IVA route, it's the way of doing it properly, but don't expect it to be a 5-minute job or be easy.
It's a really, really strict MOT, isn't it? If anybody that knows, it's like if somebody built a kit car or shortened I mean, technically, the Land Rovers, where they shorten chassis,
two ways about it. It's
extending the chassis. As soon as you touch that chassis, replacing outriggers and things like
it's
that.
like for like, at the moment anyway, you don't. It's a repair. It's not a modification. But like back in the day, people would bobtail stuff and like cut down a Range Rover and put a Series 1 body on it and things like that. And a lot of those went under the radar because that's how things were in like the 90s or whatever. But that would be IVA material now. No two ways about it.
So yeah, if in doubt, go onto the website gov.uk and just follow the rules, because it's probably not worth the risk.
No, definitely not. God forbid anything.
Yeah.
So I thought it to happen. So
thanks, John, for your question, and
bit of a lengthy one, but cheers, John. Yeah. I've had a message on Instagram from a chap in Seattle in the States. His name is Benjamin, and he said, my son Jameson is 10 years old, and he's a huge Land Rover fan. We listen to your podcast every Friday. He loves getting your magazines in the mail. Last year, for his 10th birthday, we went to Solihull and Dunsfold and saw Huey, obviously the legendary Series 1. And we have a 75th anniversary edition 110. The question is, what Land Rover should his son, Jameson, who's currently 10, get when he turns 16?
So I presume when you're 16 in Seattle, you can drive?
Yes.
What a great place to live.
I think it's the same for a lot of America, actually.
Yeah,
you can drive
of course, yeah.
He loves the Series 1. Keep up the great work, and we'll be listening. Well, thanks for your message, Benjamin, and I hope you're well over in Seattle. As far as your question goes, my answer would be, I think, Series 2A or 3.
I was thinking Series 3.
Yeah?
Purely because they're the... why are we saying old Land Rovers here?
What do you mean?
Does he want an old Land Rover then? Sorry, have I missed...
Well, he says his favourite is a Series 1.
Okay.
Series 1s, I don't know what the situation's like in the States quite as well as I do here. Series 1s in the UK and Australia, if you've read Jack Dobson's column in the mag, a little bit harder to come by, much harder to get the correct parts for, generally a little bit more specialist, whereas Series 2A and 3 there's bits everywhere for them, easy to work on, you can modify them if you want, they're just a little bit more, probably more user-friendly if you want to use it every day.
I think a Series 3, I could daily one of them.
Yeah, well, I did while the Freelander.
Well, you did.
Bless it.
Yeah. They're just softer inside. I don't know. That's what I would go for. Fuel won't be an issue, say 2.25 petrol.
Yeah, I guess most would be a 2.25 petrol. Again, there's loads of scope to sort of update them as well if you want to go down that route with newer stuff, disc brakes and parabolic springs and things like that. But I think a Series 3 would be a mega cool first car.
Definitely. Wish I was 16 again. That would have been the case 30 years ago.
I think while all your mates, like I obviously I was lucky enough to have a Defender as my first car, but while all your mates are driving around in like boring stuff like hatchbacks and like, you know, dull cars that they can probably pay more to insure than you would be on a Land Rover, you're driving around in something totally different, and it's a great feeling. So I think find either a project or a good condition 2A or 3. He can like personalise it how he wants.
Oh, do you know where? I'm going to get really niche now. So a late 2A. So the lights are still on the outside, but you get that classic front grille.
Yeah, I have to say, even though I have a Series 3, I much prefer the wire mesh grille on the 2A.
Yeah, so there you go. There's my answer there. Late 2A.
Or if you really want to upset people, get a Series 3 with a plastic dash so it's a little bit more pleasant to drive every day, and then put a wire mesh grille on it just because you can.
Do you know, I've thought of another one, right? So, yeah. So, because I'm thinking fuel here, fuel prices in Seattle won't be anywhere near what they are in Great Britain.
I think they've gone up a bit.
Yeah, they've gone up.
But
but you think what Stage 1 V8, Series 3, Stage 1 V8.
Yeah, but again, that's the same sort of problem as Series 1s, isn't it? There's not going to be many to choose from, and they're probably a lot more expensive.
Good point.
They're not the bargains they used to be, unfortunately, are they?
No, you are right. So go on then. Late 2A for me.
Yeah, late 2A, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, close enough to a Series 1, but refinement of a later.
Slightly more creature comforts and usable every day. There's your answer.
Yeah. Send us a picture when you get one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Keep us in the loop on that. We'd love to see if he does actually end up with one. That would be awesome. I've been doing a lot of tip runs recently. I'm clearing out the shed at the bottom of my garden with a view to tear it down and build another one. But I was a bit taken aback, actually. Right, I don't know if anyone else finds going to the tip in a commercial Land Rover, a bit of a daunting prospect sometimes, because you get all sorts of interrogation from the people who work at the recycling centre.
Yes, recycling centres in the UK, and they just don't like. Well, they don't like me.
They don't like you.
No.
Why?
Don't know. I don't go there often. My Land Rover's not allowed.
What? Because it's a van?
Well, it's a van, and they have a height barrier.
Oh, it doesn't get under the height barrier?
No.
Really?
No, because it has a roof rack on.
Okay.
It's squeezed under before it had a roof rack on, with the stuff that was in the back, pulling the weight down. But they don't. No.
What? So you got in, and then when you unloaded, you couldn't get back out?
No, because there's no height barrier on the way out.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I saw somebody in a double cab pickup truck once just drive in there, and he basically smashed through the barrier, didn't care, and then they told him off, but still allowed him to unload.
I'm a little bit more discreet than that. I sort of...
What, turning up in a V8 Series 3?
Right, this is where I stand. Yes, technically it's a commercial, it's a pickup. It has a 3/4 canopy on the back, so you can't see what's in it, but it is a pickup truck. There's a few different recycling centres around where I live, and I've learnt now which ones to go to and which ones is just not worth the hassle, not worth the argument. One of the... I know they're only doing their job, this is the thing, but I think you can take it too seriously. I said to one of the guys there, he was like, "Oh, have you got a permit for this?" I can't remember even what I was dropping off, but I said, "No, I haven't." And he said, "Well, it's a commercial, you need a permit." And I said, "I've literally got like a few bits. Can I get away with it this time? And I'll sort it out. I'll sign up on the website or whatever." And he was just unnecessarily difficult about it. And I said to him, "Mate, if I was using this Land Rover commercially, I'd be bankrupt within a week. Do you honestly think I'm a business driving a..."
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't go to that one anymore. I went to another local recycling centre with a load of wood in the back this weekend, and I was unloading it. I was getting some people appreciate an old Land Rover, which is nice. Anyway, I'm walking up and down the ramp up to the skip with all this wood, and I watched this bloke walk past the Land Rover, the back of the Land Rover, and he shakes his head and he goes, "Poor old truck," and carries on walking.
He must have seen the filler in the rear tub.
Well, I don't know what he was referring to. My first thought was he's disapproving of me using it to go to the tip.
Hey.
maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I'm not abusing it. Yeah, I've got loads of wood in the back, but it's a pickup truck. What do you expect?
Working vehicle.
I was very, very confused.
You see, what I don't like about tips or recycling centres, as they'd like to be known, is they all have different rules.
Yes.
And a lot of people that work there are absolute jobs worth.
It depends what county you're in, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And some are a stickler for detail.
Yeah.
So mine don't allow car parts.
Really? What, you can't just chuck metal in the metal store?
This is the grey area. But if it's free metal, they get money for that.
Right.
But if you were to send an old seat for a car or a windscreen,
Okay.
or what else have I taken in? Bits and pieces, just bits and pieces, bit of old trim or something. No, it's a car part, not allowed. But metal, happily take that because they get money back for that.
Well, I've taken springs and...
Oh, yeah, because it's metal, you see.
Just chuck it straight in the metal. Seats I've taken straight in the bulky waste.
No, see, mine don't allow.
You've got to be quick and stealthy.
Yeah. See, our recycling centre used to be really, really good about 4 years ago because there was a guy there that had a TDI Defender.
Okay.
Big mud tyres. He was cool.
Yeah.
And he sort of let me in because we used to talk about Land Rovers for about 20 minutes.
Well, that's what you need. You need someone on your side, don't you?
Yeah, but there's no one like that there
That's a shame.
anymore.
Getting rid of waste oil is getting harder. If you service your car at home and you turn up to a recycling centre with, obviously Land Rovers, reasonable size engines, they hold a fair bit of oil.
Yeah, it's 6 3/4 litres, isn't it, into a TDI? Roughly.
Yeah, especially if you're doing the engine, the gearbox, the transfer box, and both axles.
You'll be up to 10 litres of oil.
That's quite a bit of oil.
Yeah.
If you turn up to a recycling centre with, anything more than like the, a bottle that you would buy 5 litres of engine oil in, they think you're getting rid of it for commercial purposes, and they can be different. It's very... I hate to say it, but they wonder why people dump stuff illegally, and it's because they make it difficult.
An old sealed beam headlight out of a Land Rover wouldn't accept it.
What?
Because it's a car part.
That's
so there you go. What do you do with stuff like that? You have to kind of hide it in amongst other things.
But it's black bin.
Well, yeah, but then it's going to landfill. It's kind of going to the same.
Well, you want to do the right thing, don't you? This is it. Like, you don't... All that wood... Like, I don't know if wood gets recycled, but I'd sooner try and recycle it than just burn it. It might get burnt for power.
Don't talk to me about fires, right? So our local, you get these local Facebook groups, village Facebook groups.
Oh, yes.
Every day in our village, right, someone is burning something.
Right.
But they tend to be doing it later at night and first thing in the morning. So the whole village from about 10 p.m. stinks of smoke. No one knows who's burning, but they're burning, right?
Right.
And everyone's up in arms about this burning smell. And I've had my windows open. I've got my washing now stinks. And I forget why I even mentioned that now, but why were we talking about the... Oh, yeah. So
because I'd rather recycle the wood than burn it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But one of my nearby neighbours, in fact, he's got an old Land Rover.
Legend.
And he's into old tractors.
Oh.
He's a cool guy.
He sounds like a cool dude.
His day job is investigating fly tippers.
Oh, really?
So he drives round. He works at a local council. He drives around in a van, just a small white van, and he'll go to sites of where stuff's been fly tipped, and then he investigates it to try and find the. And lots of people leave their own personal details.
It's ridiculous.
Like
stuff with their address.
Yeah. And then they all get fined.
Not that anyone... Fly tipping is the absolute... It is the pond life.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you.
So anyone that's listening to this, you fly tips for a living, right?
Yeah.
Don't listen anymore.
There's an absolutely cracking video on Facebook at the moment of some guys in a Disco 2. I think they're out green laning.
Okay.
And they catch a guy in a transit dumping a load of rubbish.
Okay.
And this D2, there's obviously like 4 or 5 of them in it. They get out and force him, take pictures and video, force him to pack all his stuff back up and leave. Good old boys.
Yeah.
Don't stand for fly tipping. I hate it.
It is vile. And green lanes often get fly tipped on because they're easy access.
They do.
And then they just dump the stuff and carry on driving.
Anyway, on a more positive, slightly more cheery note, we're not here to be angry. Because the weather's been so nice recently, I've been driving my Series 3 around with no door tops on. And if anyone's got a Series Land Rover and they haven't taken their door tops off and gone for a drive, do it. Because it improves the vehicle in every single way.
See, I can see sales of new door tops going through the roof now you said that.
Well, because when you try and remove the help, once the pins fall off and it all just falls to bits.
Yeah. So now, so anyone who out there, in fact, Brit Parts, there you go, just buy yourself some new door tops.
Yeah, I've got brick
Because you will need them.
door tops on my Series 3. They've been on there about 4 years and they're perfect. I filled them up with wax oil when I fitted them.
That's the thing. So if anyone, you've just told people to take door tops off,
Yeah,
but they're going to have a whole world of pain when that doesn't come undone.
they'll be fine.
So you in WD-40.
Yeah, you know, you might have to give them a wiggle and work some penetrating oil down the threaded bars that go through the tops of the door bottom. But you get a lovely breeze through the cab.
It's wonderful.
All the noise that normally echoes around the cabin of your Land Rover, which, you know, even with sound deadening, you do get, it's a noisy place to be in a series Land Rover. But that all escapes straight out of the big old openings. You feel really connected to the outside world. You don't feel like you're in a vehicle. Oh, I can't get enough of it. Any excuse now, I go for driving the door.
No, it is brilliant. I mean, we had that listener's question 2, 3 or 4 podcasts back about should I convert his Land Rover to soft top?
Yes.
And we all said kind of yes and kind of no.
Yeah, there's reasons why you would and wouldn't do it.
A soft top Land Rover in this weather is just fantastic.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't have a soft top, you might have a hard top or a pickup like me. But just pulling those door tops off just gives you so much more open air. It's brilliant. But I would say, if you've got a soft top, don't take the canvas off completely, especially in like mid-afternoon, because you will just get fried alive in your Land Rover.
Yeah.
The heat from beneath and then the sun blaring down on top of you. I remember a few years ago, editor of Land Rover Life, Neil Watson, and I were green laning in Thetford, and I had my 88-inch V8 Series 2A, which had a canvas top on it, and I rolled the sides up. He took the canvas off his lightweight completely, and it was such a hot day. By the end of it, he just looked like a lobster. I had you get like a nice breeze for a soft top, but he was just like cooked.
So for me, soft top Land Rover, it's quite a commitment, isn't it? Taking an entire canvas roof off a Land Rover, but rolling up the sides, you've got that bit of shade.
Oh,
it's awesome.
Yeah, especially now, like, well, as we record this podcast, the weather's been glorious, especially if you catch like that golden hour in the evening where the sun's just coming down. It's not too hot. You can go out. The roads are quite quiet. You know, perfect.
So soft top Land Rover sales have just gone through the roof.
I hope so.
And if you've got a later Defender, you know, you can convert the doors, can't you? The one-piece doors, Series 3 doors. Bit of modification, but you can do it.
Don't get me wrong. The push-button doors are better probably like all year round. They do seal a bit better. They're a bit quieter.
Yeah, they do.
The windows are nicer to use because the whole thing slides down rather than, you know, you haven't got like half the access like on a Series door. But yeah, you can fit Series door bottoms quite easily. They take the same hinges. You might have to change the door handle catch setup, but so worth it. So
yeah, it is cool. I've got 2-piece doors on my Project 90.
Yes, you've got galvanised ones.
Galvanised frames, SP 4x4, their doors, galvanised frames.
Okay.
All brand new skin doors. Yeah, really nice.
Just need to build the rest of it.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah, I saw, talking of driving around in Land Rovers, on the way here this morning, no less, I was coming across the road that I drive to work, and I saw a Velar coming the other way, new shape Velar, and I just saw it getting closer and closer. And it had the weirdest body damage I've ever seen on a Land Rover. So the front bumper was unmarked, the rest of it was unmarked, but the front leading edge of the bonnet had the biggest dent in it, like something had fallen on it or it had driven under something. I just thought, how have you managed that, and how are you still driving it? Because this was like significant damage.
Oh, wow.
So I'm amazed that like the radiator hadn't split, or, you know, it hadn't caused more problems or set the airbags off, because it looked like a reasonable impact. I'll try and see if I can get a closer look at it next time. But
yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, you do see like some really odd, like obviously if you're driving off road, you're going to pick up marks and scrapes and dents that you wouldn't necessarily get driving stuff every, you know, on the road in normal use. But yeah, it reminded me of, do you remember the old Peugeot 206 advert where the elephant sits on that old car and like keeps smashing it up and it turns into a 206?
Yes, I do remember.
It was on
advert. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I wondered if like the owner had maybe had a go at that to try and make it look more like a Defender or something like that. But I don't know if they did. The elephant had clearly run off quite quickly after doing the bonnet. But yeah, just the things you see out and about, Steve. Just it does make quite raised an eyebrow this morning anyway. So obviously the Freelander's fine, but I keep looking at cars now.
You spotted one earlier, didn't you?
I quite fancy a P38.
Yeah, unusual.
I know.
Well, not unusual, but just unexpected.
I think they're that sweet spot of, we've spoken about it before, they're that sweet spot of DIY friendly. Like there's loads of aftermarket support out there now. They're well documented. They don't rust too badly, but they're still modern enough to make a comfortable daily driver.
So when we had that P38 up on show and tell at the Billing Off-Road show,
yes,
that black one, that certainly put P38s on my radar.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that was beautiful, actually.
I've got a saved search on eBay now for 2.5 diesel P38s, which aren't necessarily the first choice when it comes to, like, a lot of people will go for a V8.
Yeah, we spoke about them, didn't we, on one of our previous podcasts, because they are really quite slow.
The 2.5 diesel?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they come with a manual, some of them come with a manual gearbox, and you can put the 3-litre M57 in them without too much work.
Is that a weekend job?
I don't know. Much. No, when I say too much work, it's still a huge job, but it's not as much of a job as like...
Okay, let me ask another question. Do you need another?
No, I really don't. I really don't.
Because your track record for recent projects isn't really, hasn't really got down, is it?
No.
It was supposed to be setting an example here at Land Rover Monthly where you buy a project. I don't know. Why am I? People in glass houses.
Yeah, but you don't sell yours.
No, I just don't fix it.
No,
I just don't do anything with it.
I have a confession. You may have seen...
Oh, have I let the cat out the bag?
I've got to say it now, haven't I? Basically, you will have seen... When was it? I don't know, however long ago it was. I had a Range Rover Classic that I had all the best intentions of fixing, welding it up, getting it back on the road. Bought it from a friend of mine, cheap. Got all the panels and then realised that this was a serious commitment that would have taken like months of full time, and I didn't have the time to do it. So I sold it to Tim Hammond, who is a contributor to LRM, loves his Range Rover Classics, restores them, does a fantastic job. And actually the engine from that one that I sold to him is now in one that he's just returned to the road. So it's helped others live on.
Yeah. Sometimes I think he's facing a project, if something is too rotten and not beyond your means to do, but like in terms of time and commitment in the workshop, sometimes the sensible thing is move it on.
Well, the thing was, actually, it should have been a wake-up call for me anyway. The fact that Tim said that he wasn't going to fix it and he restores them for a living, I was like, yeah, I definitely bit off more than I could chew with that one.
Definitely, you've given it a go. And you always learn something along the way, don't you?
Yeah, you definitely do. But I was getting like almost a bit down really with not seeing any progress on it because I was just so busy with everything else that I didn't have the time to go to the unit, and I didn't have the best, most advanced bodywork skills to do what I needed to do with it. Mechanically, not a problem, but the actual, that thing was rotten everywhere. So
yeah,
it's taken me a long, long time.
So I did that with an MGB GT once.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to save it. I bought it from my farmer, David. David, I've mentioned him before.
Yeah.
And it was in there, chrome bumper MGB GT. Anyway, to cut logs, I always wanted one. I very quickly realised that I didn't want one. They're real wrong.
You might have wanted one, but not that particular one.
No, but then I bought another one.
Right.
Before I committed to restoring that one, just to see how I got on with it. And they're just not for me.
I've had that in the past with...
when you think that
yes,
your expectations are... It doesn't meet your expectations.
Absolutely.
And I just thought, wow, I'm so glad I bought this other one to realise that that rotten one in the garage isn't worth touching. So I basically sold them both off, and I felt the better for it.
I've poured time and money into vehicles that I think will be brilliant, and then you actually use them and drive them, and they just don't live up to it.
Do you know there's people out there, right, that drive Land Rovers for the first time and it doesn't meet their expectations?
I don't believe it for a while. No.
I always say, right, so if you drive a Defender for the first time and you hate it, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They hate traditional Defender, but they expected to drive like a Discovery or Range Rover.
Yeah.
I just don't think they've lived with it long enough. So I think it takes people a couple of weeks to sort of gel with it or become part of it and appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I can see.
I think you've just got to give it time.
Yeah, we're digressing. Sorry, what I actually meant to say at the end of that bit about the Range Rover was I've sold the Series 3 station wagon.
You have.
To Tim Hammond as well, who's going to actually restore it.
I've got, right, so basically what you're saying here is we can buy any old crap we want because Tim Hammond will bail you out.
Don't get me wrong, I sold it to him for what it owed me, which was not a lot of money.
No, that's fair.
I got a good deal when I bought it. I did spend some money on it. It's actually got the front quarter chassis replacement in the latest issue. If you want to read about how to use DDS metals front quarter chassis, because that was all rotten around the dumb irons and the steering relay. So it is in the current issue. So please give that a read. But yeah, I mean, it needed needed all the doors, it needed B pillars, it needed far more. It was really time that I didn't have still to put into it. So Tim said, if you want it gone, I'll have it, I'll do it. I've always fancied a 6-cylinder station wagon. Obviously, I'd gone and bought an engine for it as well, so he got that with the deal, and he's happy, I'm happy, onwards. But it does mean I keep looking for other things to replace it with, which is not healthy.
No, it just highlights to me, when you see people's completed projects in the pages of Land Rover Monthly, and you see someone's seen it through.
Yeah.
Got to take your hat off to them, haven't you? They've done it.
Well, the thing is, I love my Series 3 pickup. And although the station wagon, the idea of that was there'd be more space inside for when me and my wife and the dog and that go out, and we can put stuff inside the cabin rather than in the back.
It's more car-like rather than...
Yeah. So, again, good intentions, but unfortunately, just at the moment, I don't have time to see it through, so it was better that someone else did. But... talking of restorations, that brings us nicely onto Product of the Week.
Product of the Week
this week is galvanised inner wings for Defender. So on earlier Defenders and 90s and 110s, they have the front inner wheel arches are metal and then they're galvanised. And they look lovely and clean and shiny for a few years, and then they go all powdery as they do. The bottoms of them corrode off from the brackets that hold them to the bulkhead.
They do indeed do that, yeah.
As you well know. Yes. I've seen the state of yours. But Shield a Chassis here with the solution.
Okay.
For £360 for a pair, you can have two brand new, original, manufactured exactly to original spec inner wheel arches for Defender, and they are galvanised. They come with 12-month warranty. They'll obviously last a hell of a lot longer than that, but like-for-like replacement, ideal for a restoration, or if, like Steve's, they're just a little bit crispy and a little bit powdery. So they're in the latest issue with LRM. Check them out.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, restoration stuff like that, it's knowing that the bits and pieces are there, if you know what I mean. So if you get to a point where you need to just spend the money,
definitely, it's about future-proofing it. You don't want to be taking your Land Rover to pieces again in 5 years' time. You want to just do it once and do it right.
As I say, we're sort of spoilt with Land Rover stuff, really, because we have got an enormous wealth of parts available to us. So feature of the week now. And I really, really like this one. This is a cracking feature done by Classics editor Gary Pusey with help from the Dunsfold Collection and Dunsfold Museum. So obviously early discoveries are hot topic at the moment. Like, we've given them a fair bit of coverage.
Yeah, it's good vehicles, right?
Up and coming, fantastic thing. Well, many people don't know about the prototype discoveries, which came out before the pre-production, and then obviously the early 200 series. If you want to know about them, cracking feature in this month's issue of Land Rover Monthly about the three-door discoveries, real early prototypes that survived, and then they've discovered a fourth one recently.
Okay.
Really, really interesting. One of them was used for extensive off-road development at Eastner. So it's absolutely battered. It's got a roll cage and a snorkel on it. So yeah, there's all sorts of cracking information there about how the Discovery came to be, sort of testing and things like that they went through before they could sign it off as a production model. And just really, really cool sort of tidbits and information and some cracking pictures as well. So be sure to check that out. The latest issue, which is on sale now, not the next issue, which is on sale in a couple of weeks. That's in the September issue I'm on about.
Yes.
To avoid any confusion, because I've made everything confusing. Sorry about that. September issue.
The world of publishing is confusing for all of us.
It really is. The months don't make sense.
September issue on sale now. In the month of August.
yeah.
It's July to August.
Yeah.
And then the next issue.
Absolutely. So yeah, give that.
If in doubt, go to landrovermonthly.co.uk website and have a look.
It will be on there.
Latest issue.
Absolutely. And we also keep you up to date with everything that's in the latest issue on our social media. So Facebook, Instagram, X, as it's now called. So give us a follow on there as well. All good stuff. Anything new? Anything else new in your world?
Haven't got my Land Rover this week.
Where is it?
My wife discovered that she really, really likes driving it. Now it's been remarked.
She's confiscated it off you.
Yeah, she said, I'll take Land Rover. Now she's, I'm keeping. Now it's her daily. As of Monday this week.
You've been demoted.
Yeah.
She's just run off with it.
Yeah. She loves driving to work, and en route to work, she often sees Land Rovers and they wave. She thinks it's good.
Brilliant. Long may it continue, I must say.
Wave and be waved.
I've noticed actually a lot more drivers of newer Land Rovers waving now, whereas they never used to.
See, I've not noticed that.
Oh, okay.
So when you say newer Land Rovers, are you thinking the new Defender?
Freelander 2, which obviously isn't new, but it's newer than...
Yeah, it's a post... Yeah.
New Defender, Discovery 5. I've had a couple of waves off Discovery 5 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that people are either people who come from older Land Rovers are buying newer ones and they're carrying on the wave, or people who might not have had a Land Rover before who've gone into one of the newer models have realised that Land Rover people wave to each other and they've adopted the wave as well. Fair play to them, I say.
No, see, I've not experienced that. Perhaps because I don't wave at them.
Keep your eye out.
For the wave.
For the wave, because I'm always like,
really,
unless it's a series or a Defender or an early Discovery or a Range Rover Classic, I'm always like nervous to be the instigator of the wave.
I know, but and not quite often you've got like 3 seconds to make that decision.
I know.
You go the other way and you go, oh, I should have waved there.
What I find is especially people who have like work Land Rovers, like National Grid and all that, and farmers. Some farmers don't wave.
Yeah, they're not interested at all.
You can put your hand up to them and they just give 1,000-yard stare.
Well, I don't know you from the auction, the cattle market. I don't know you.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it's good.
Wave and be waved at. We've spoken about that sticker before, haven't we?
We have. But had any more interesting sticker? Oh, I know what we've had in.
What's that?
So we had another question, didn't we, from a reader about naming their...
Oh yeah, this was so cool.
So this is, we mentioned naming Yolanda last, well, a couple podcasts ago, didn't we?
Oh yeah, so this is cool. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago about people who name their Land Rovers and why they are named that.
Because you called your Freelander Big Grey.
I was like, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but it was an off the cuff thing. But we've had a listener get in touch and say, following the What's the Landy Name podcast, my TD5 Defender is called Leanne Drover. So when you say it quickly, it sounds like Land Rover, which is pretty cool.
So jump in Leanne Drover.
Leanne Drover. Leanne. So Leanne for short, I guess.
Yeah, like that.
And then the Range Rover also has a name, or doesn't have an official name, but it's Leanne Drover's sister. So Rianne. So it could be Range Rover, if you a bit of a stretch. But
because they say it's the sister of the Defender.
Yes, but I think Leanne Drover works. You could call your Defender Leanne, and people will be like, well, "Why is it called Leanne?" And you say, "Well, it's Leanne Drover." So sort of like when people have a dog and they call it D for, because it's D for dog.
D for dog. So they want to call their Range Rover. They've asked our opinion on what they should call their Range Rover. Is that correct?
Well, they've sort of said it could be Leanne because of Leanne Rover kind of works, but maybe there's a better one than that. I think Range Rovers deserve like posh names, like Humphrey or like
Hugo. Hugo's a posh name.
Do you think?
Yeah. Sebastian.
There's various things you can come up with, but yeah, if you've got a Land Rover with a name that's got a hilarious backstory to it, drop us an email, editorial@lrm.co.uk, because we'd love to hear about them. Because I think Land Rover works, so if you can up that, if you can beat that, get in touch.
But didn't they call it the Range Rover? Or so, the Range Rover is called Lorraine.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Land Rover is the Defender and the Range Rover.
Yeah, so when you jump in the Range Rover,
yeah,
just jump in the Range Rover.
So you got Leanne and Lorraine.
So I think Lorraine is a good name.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, call it Lorraine. Leanne is a bit of a stretch, but Range Rover works.
Yeah, so we have officially named your Range Rover Lorraine.
Leanne for the Defender, Lorraine for the Range Rover.
Yeah,
fantastic. Job's a good one. And on that note, I think we'll call this one done, shall we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and wait for my wife to return to the Defender.
See if you're ever going to get your
incidentally does not have a name.
Yet. Maybe she'll name it.
She said it was a bit hot yesterday, no air conditioning. Well, that is part and parcel.
Did she have the vents open?
Yeah, that is air conditioning, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is. You know what she needs, don't you? Series doors. Get the door tops off it.
Yeah. No.
Go on. Anyway, right. It's that time. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week.
Will do. Bye for now.